Thank you so much, Willie, and good evening, everybody. It's the school teacher in me. You can still respond. You can say good evening. So I just wanted to say a couple of words and a short thank you to Third Way, and hopefully something to help make you feel even more moved to support the organization that you've come here tonight to serve. The quick story I'll tell you is I was sitting a couple days ago with a friend of mine whose daughter goes to Arapahoe High School. And her daughter was there last year for the tragic shooting. And I just asked her, I said, how is she doing? And she was not in the library, she was not in the cafeteria, she was in a remote part of the building, didn't know the victim well. But she said she is having a really hard time. She said she's terrified of public spaces. We can't go out to movie theaters or cafeterias or big open spaces. She has a really hard time just keeping her friendships together because she feels like if this could be the kid in the class next door, then how well does she really know her own friends? So now she doesn't go out with them anymore. She doesn't return phone calls. And so they have her in intense therapy, sort of group therapy, one-on-one therapy. And the mom started to cry just talking about how hard she's fighting to keep her little baby girl together. And you think about how each of us would fight in that context to try to keep your little baby girl together. And then you think about that story, right? That is a story about a girl who was not intimately involved in any immediate trauma. She was not a witness, she was not a victim, but she was just there. And now take what that hurt looks like and imagine now being a girl the same age who is 16, but instead who has lived through 5 years of homelessness on a motel on Colfax, or 3 years of being prostituted by her own mother to make a little more money to support her drug habit, or 7 or 8 years of being ritually sexually abused by your own dad or your own stepdad, going from foster care home to prison cell to the Third Way Center. And then think about the amount of support and love and tenacity it takes to fill a hole that big. I think Third Way is the most powerful testimony to the fact that the only way to heal a hurt that seems unconscionable is with a love that seems inconceivable. And that is what Third Way brings to those young people. For the years that I worked at Third Way, I remember the young people that walked in the door and just couldn't possibly imagine a world in which they were worth loving, in which there was something inside of them that was worth a good person giving years of their lives to try to help them find a way back to wholeness. And what this staff does every day in and day out is finds a way to love them through everything that they try to convince you not to. And there is a great Israeli poet, Yehuda Amichai, who has a poem that ends with this phrase: "To live is to build a ship and a harbor at the same time, and to finish the harbor long after the ship has gone down." We are all going about the work of building our own individual ships and making them beautiful and navigable. But someone has to be about the work of building the harbor. Because no matter how tall your ship or how expensive it is, there comes a time when the night gets dark enough and the rain gets hard enough and the blackness gets deep enough that all of us go looking for a harbor. And if you are a kid who has been passed between homelessness and abuse and prison and foster care, you need a harbor more than anybody. You need it now, and you need it badly. And in those moments, the people that are there to take you in with an open arm and a relentless hug are the staff at Third Way. Yeah. So would all of the staff members of Third Way please stand? All of the therapists that are here, all of the house staff, all the counselors. Stay standing, yes. Stay standing, please. I'm very proud that my niece, Libby, is one of them. And so I have a double vested interest in this. But I will just say, these are the people that do that heroic work. And the amount of stories they take in every day, any one of them will break your heart. And they take them all in and go to bed and come back the next morning ready to start all over again. And so when you think about what you're supporting, you are supporting these relentlessly loving people who will find a way to build the harbor for the ships that need them the most. And for that, I will ask you to give all that you can, to give your time, to give your resources, to give your support, because without them, there are a lot of kids out there that are going to sink. And so thank you so much for coming, and a huge round of applause for these folks for doing the work that brought us here.